I'm Charlton-Trujillo. I'm about to go on a pretty unique book tour. Tomorrow I am going to travel America in a rental car and workshop with at-risk youth at no cost to their programs. I have basically packed all my belongings into storage. I haven't quite planned enough. I don't like to drive. I was inspired a little over a month ago by a young person I met in South Texas. An educator friend of mine asked me if I'd be willing to meet a student of hers. The student was struggling with depression, having a hard time connecting with other people, but had ability to write, she thought. So she got on the phone and made a series of phone calls, found his mom working at a local grocery, and said, hey, could you bring him by? And mom found someone to cover her shift. And before he got there, the teacher says to me, now listen, he's not gonna talk to you and he's not gonna look at you, but it's not disrespect, it's just his way. And so we sit down, and the story that he had written, I had already read it, and I started flipping through and talking about this story. And something in the way I was interacting with him, he began to shift. And so the kid who doesn't look up from the desk is now looking up at me. And the kid that doesn't talk, he's talking to me. And I don't really know why, I just know it's happening. And I look at him and I say, hey man, I believe in you. I believe in what you're doing, and I think you've got a voice. And then he smiled. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to do right now, is go out on this book tour with a book about outsiders and reach out to outsiders. When I was a kid, I didn't fit. I didn't know who to be in that small town. And writing was that thing that gave me that. I'm gonna go across America and see if I can figure out what at-risk is and change some lives, make some kids smile. So that's it.
I didn't know what to make of it at first.
I don't think it's insane at all. I think it's brilliant.
I think it's insane, and the best things in the world are insane.
I think it's the most moral thing I've heard of in years. What you're doing is particularly fantastic because everybody rolls their eyes at kids, everybody rolls their eyes at teenagers. When it comes to at-risk youth, people have rolled their eyes to so much.
I frankly think some authors might be intimidated or scared of walking into some of the places you've walked into and talking to those kids, or they might think, oh, well, I would have nothing to add or offer because maybe my life hasn't been that way.
You gotta take risks. Something amazing can only happen if you are a gambler.
It's really a courageous thing to drive across country, meet people you've never met before, stay at their house, be not sure what the next thing is gonna be, I think is pretty badass in and of itself.
Here, and I am not overly thrilled about that. I don't like to drive in that weather. Oh man, I'm so stupid. I shouldn't have gone through this. This was such a mistake. I knew not to go for it. I knew it was a cell and not to go. I looked at the map and I knew that it was dangerous weather, and I was like, oh, I can just drive through it. It can't be that bad because there's no alert. But there is clearly some sort of alert because the deeper we got into it, the more tornadic it looked. And you can ask anyone that knows me, I am terrified of tornadoes. Now we're sitting ducks because it's pouring. I mean, avalanche. That is unbelievable. If threatening weather approaches your area, take shelter in a sturdy building. This is not how I pictured the first day. I feel a little defeated right now. I wanted to get farther tonight and then just kind of pop up tomorrow and be ready. I'm concerned that there could be something that would prohibit me from making the event, and that would be terrible.
We see a lot of storminess working through parts of Mississippi and Alabama. Look at all this lightning.
months. You're to do a thing in the teens now. You know, when you sit down to write, like if you sat down, if you were jotting down lists or dialogue or whatever you're doing, as long as it's true for you and your world and the voice that you're hearing, like that character's voice, you know, whether it's your sister or your brother, as long as it's real and it's coming from a true place, that's going to be the best writing you ever do. It's when you start to write to please her and me, and you're writing just because you have to do it, because you want to do it, because you got something to say, that's going to be the best writing you ever do.
And you're writing a sentence that describes the picture. That's the game of it. So fold down the picture.
You're funny. Nothing has to be brilliant.
That's great. That's great.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. The boy was at war with the tree, but he was losing.
There once was a rich man. He was the richest man in his country, but he was miserable.
I love your duck giraffe.
What is it?
Our primary population of folks that come here are homeless. If there are authors that want to speak about social justice issues or how homelessness and poverty intersect with other issues that are actually being addressed in our area or nationally, they could have a body of people that would be very interested. I'm not sure that folks necessarily think about it in terms of like, okay, this is a huge population, who can we bring to talk to these people that are already here? Maybe just the square one is to associate the books that they could be reading with human beings actually writing a book. I feel like sometimes you walk into a library and you're like, oh, fancy people do this stuff. To have it be a human being that you can ask questions to, that you can maybe see yourself in some part of or relate to, really ups the chance of somebody getting into writing. Maybe encourages them to read a different kind of book than they might be used to because they enjoyed the person and the way they spoke about how they approach their writing.
You're reading really good books, though.
That's nice. But she's a tour guide. Hers is completely another.
At risk to me means at risk of not being able to become the person you want to be.
When I think about risk kids, I think of kids who don't quite fit the formula.
An at-risk kid is missing some really key pieces of support that they need to grow up in a healthy way.
The stereotypes are that they have a lot of rage and that rage is quite obvious. And so they are not necessarily the kind, gentle people. There is some notion that they come from a family that is dysfunctional, that the way they look will somehow tell you that they are at risk.
An at-risk child is somebody who does not have loving, trustworthy adults in his or her life. That crosses a lot of barriers. There are plenty of very rich, privileged children who are deeply at risk because they don't have parents sitting down across the dinner table with them every night, asking them, how was your day?
Probably about 10 minutes ago. Incredibly frustrated because I didn't plan accordingly with the gas and we're cutting it extremely close to getting to a gas station. So we made it to the gas station with literally 6 miles left. That's what I call cutting it close. And I hope not to do that again on this trip. I grew up in small town South Texas, about 5,000 people, 3 dogs, and a Pizza Hut. Didn't have a lot of creative mentors in my life, so it was kind of a struggle growing up to have access to things. As I got older, went to college, blah, 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 got a filmmaking master's, blah, 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 worked in New York, blah, blah, blah. We're just to skip the whole like exposition. I lost a friend, and she died in an accident, and it was really hard for me. I took a year off after grad school instead of going to LA and working in filmmaking. And then at that time, I wrote Prizefighter and Mikasa, which was my first book. I wrote Prizefighter in about 2 months. Within a year, I won the Delacorte Dell Yearling Award through Random House and had a book contract. I know this is gonna sound all lame, like Save the Whales, but I do think art saves. Hopefully, when a kid reads my book, they don't feel as alone. We read to know we're not alone, bottom line. And I hope they laugh, I hope they have a good time, I hope they feel something, and most importantly, I hope they feel like someone's listening, right? And like when you show up for someone, you're a visual metaphor saying, hey, I'm a professional artist, I'm going to show it for you and listen and say I believe in you. Do you know how much volume that has? Like how much weight that has to say to a person? If you just stand there and you mean it. You say, I believe in you. I believe in what you can do. And really mean it.
Well, she's written 3 books on her Ford.
Uh-huh.
And we're at a loss as to what to do to...
How old are you?
15.
15? What's the rough, like 200 pages a book?
No. No.
400?
600.
Wow, get my card and we'll find somewhere for her to connect. Let me give you my business card. Drop me an email at that address and I'll send you some links to see if it's a good fit. And feel free to ask questions.
I'm Michaela Edwards. I'm 15 and a half years old and I like to write. Each of my books is the shortest being 325, the longest being like 599. No one ever comes to Chico, ever. Like, we've never had a real author in Chico before to actually talk about what it's like to be an author. I felt good. I felt like I found someone who could help me maybe get a foot in the door, someone encouraging. There's not really a lot for writers. I mean, I don't even think we have a writers club at school or anything. I mean, there's not really a lot to bring writers together to talk about it.
We're going to talk about writing, we're going to talk about books, we're going to talk about life. We're going to have a good time. Everything that you do on Mondays, you don't do today. What's your question?
How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
And how young are you?
How old and young do you think I am?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
21. In your 20s?
How old am I?
25.
Okay, who else?
21.
21? Yeah. What do you got?
26.
26?
27.
27? Okay, are these real guesses?
I'm really.
Yeah. You're really guessing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now, drum roll, please. Hit the desk hard. Come on. Try harder. And stop. I am 39 years old.
39.
Wait, seriously?
Word to your mother, it's true. I get ID'd for everything. R-rated films, anything that requires a parent. People try to register me for high school. No, I'm actually serious. All right, I need a volunteer. Who's gonna volunteer? Okay, this kid, I'm coming to you. Now what you're gonna do, you're gonna be running camera. You're gonna be running mic. You gotta get those epic emotional feeling shots.
All right, I'm gonna get really into this.
Okay, so when you can, try to keep it still. It has a 5-second delay. So you are officially getting credit as my camera crew for this documentary. Now, you're in charge. Go find me the money shot.
Okay.
Takes 5-second delay. Now, you're my sound person.
Just kidding.
Are my director and monitor people working good here? We're getting good. Okay, because these are the moments, all right? All right, now, here's our moment. All right, wait. You're all going to participate in something. I need some words. So, Mr. Blue. Mr. Blue?
Yeah.
Give me a word.
Redonkulous.
What?
Redonkulous.
You better spell that.
I don't know how to spell it. I just know the word.
RIDICU.
All right, is that a real
Redonkulous, I guess.
word? Really? No cheating.
Rockstar.
Rockstar. All right, chicken. All right, I got chicken. What else we got?
Oatmeal.
We're hungry.
Okay. What else do we got for me?
Insanity.
Insanity. I love it. Any word. Any word.
Taco. Tractor.
Hamster? Okay.
A dog.
Where are we going with this?
Just hold on, we're almost there. So the redonkulous nature of the rock star made them feel really hungry for some fried chicken, but the oatmeal was all that was on the table. And sometimes when they got kind of antsy inside, the potatoes that were out and about would start to have a sort of photosynthesis and grow. Now, the author came into the room and had a lot to prescribe and write to them about everything, but there were so many cats meowing and milling about. And then they said, hey, you know what? I will find a lawyer and sue you. But then they said, look, I'm a rock star. I've got tattoos. What do you think? No, maybe that's not a good idea. So the insanity of the moment made them crazed inside. And then all of a sudden, those cats realized there were hamsters everywhere. And the insidian of the moment, and when there were dogs and Mexicans, and everybody said, I think this is the place I want to stay. Your teachers want you to write in a way to get you through the educational system, to get you to college if you choose, to get a job, to have a life, to have money, to survive. These are important skills, okay? Today, though, these are the things I want. I want you to write with voice, your voice, okay? I'm going to give you a prompt. You're going to write with your voice, and you're going to write however you want. If you want to write backwards on the page, write backwards. If you want to write upside down, you want to write up and down, set left to right. I don't care. The point is, though, that you write something you care about. If someone only knew, ... and you fill in the blank.
Okay, so it's a picture of me, I guess. And it's, you only knew I'm not perfect after all. So.
Let's see that. Hold it up. Everybody see? All right, that's it. Oh, you did so good. Clap, clap. Beautiful. Wait.
If someone only knew how much pain I've had to live through, they wouldn't tell me you don't belong on this earth. They wouldn't understand that there is a lot of stuff I have lived through. I am adopted, my parents are drug addicts. I was a mistake and I wasn't supposed to live. I weighed 2 pounds when I was born, and I was born in one of the most gang-ridden towns in California, or at least there are a lot of gangs there. My cousin drowned at the beginning of this year, 1 month after my dad's birthday. He played drums and I play guitar, and no matter how much I miss him, he won't be coming back home. He was only 19 at the time and had just turned 19. He went swimming with friends, got tired, and drowned. At his funeral, I found out he had told his friends that I was hit by a car at the beginning of last year and ended up with a concussion. And the whole entire side of my head went through the windshield.
Clap. The young people wrote. The kids that didn't want to write wrote. Some kids shared some really hard stuff, and I saw a lot of really hard truths. But today was a good day to be alive. Today was a good day to be alive, and today they win. So we are trying to get into the radio station. That apparently the call button doesn't work. Invalid directory. Okay, touch the number. Note the position of the cursor. Touch call to ring tenant. Okay.
Yes.
There's hope.
All right, Charlie. Well, we tried the call box and it wouldn't take, so now I'm calling from... Oh. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. Thank you. Okay, there we go. Awesome.
Let it be said, nothing will keep me off the radio. I'm touring America on a very unconventional book tour. My new book's Fat Engine. And I'm going around America instead of just signing books. I'm meeting with at-risk youth in communities all across the country, driving a Ford Focus compact car rental.
Wow. Lucas, how did that run?
I gotta tell you, it's Ford Tow. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I really appreciate it on the fly. You have no idea. The interview went really great, but I didn't hit the sound button, so we didn't have any proper sound. I had a sound guy that was ready to travel America with me. I would never have to think about it once if I could pay him $200 a stop. You can.
Which means you have to do the very best you can with what you have, and I think you are. But you understand that whether the sound came on that one little 3-minute period or not, you are still doing the work that you came here to do.
But they're not going to believe that.
No,
They're not going
I
to
know.
see it. They have to see and hear it.
I know. You'll have footage. It's that 3-minute little period of time that you don't have footage of.
Okay, you're right. It's perspective.
You're doing the work. Those kids' lives, you're still going to be in those kids' lives.
No, but I can't get other people to be a part of this eventually if they don't see the powerfulness of this because I didn't have enough camera people.
All right, so here's the deal.
Yeah.
I have a little song I could sing you. I am willing to...
You're willing to lower yourself to such a standard?
I am.
To sing?
You. Only for you. I wouldn't do it for anybody else.
So you wouldn't sing for anyone else in the whole world? Looks like we're in trouble, kids. It ain't me this time, but I'm in the car.
The reason you're stopped is you have no taillights. I'm guessing you don't have your headlights on right.
Turn on the lights. We're in a rental. I'm sorry. We just got into Oregon. We haven't even been here that long. I'm disoriented right now because I have elevation sickness. I couldn't breathe earlier. I thought, well, maybe it's just a panic attack. We're up really high. I was driving. I had a hard time swallowing. My ears wouldn't pop for a while, but that's fine. I don't care about the ears thing, but that not being able to breathe and swallow was really awful. We do a U-turn, you mean?
Yeah, but be really careful. The other thing is you might go down to this next intersection and try it at the light.
Okay.
Might be a little safer than doing it right here.
Okay, sure. She ended up being really nice. Although she was really scary at first. I mean, basically, the police officer told her to make an illegal move in this intersection. So she suggested we do something illegal.
Oh, I gotta start the car.
I tell you, getting to Portland is gonna be some hell. This is the worst part so far. But, I'll be really glad to get there. I'll be really glad to get to Portland. Woo! Yeah. When you sit down to write poetry, like, how do you do it? You know?
Sit there and zone out.
Right. But you're, like, totally in it, right? I mean, you're in that moment or whatever that is, right?
Will, do you want to share your poem that got published?
Yeah. What? Come on. You're holding out.
It's on page like 64, 65, I think.
This is good. I like that you stuck with paragraph form and broke against the idea of a stanza. I like the way that lays out on the page.
I'm like writing an autobiography right now too.
Yeah?
The way I'm doing is like 2 words per line.
Really? Seriously? Yeah. Do you have it in your bag?
Yeah.
Are you okay if I see it?
Sure.
That would be awesome.
It's like 2 words per line.
Where did you get the idea to do it like this? I mean, it's so compressed, but there's so much story there.
Yeah.
Wow. Seriously. I wish I'd beat you to this. I love your layout. I like that you're doing it this way. And it's just got so much heart and feeling into this. It's painful and it's beautiful. When you sit down and write it, does it ever feel like does it feel better when you do it? Like it's just kind of a release or something?
Yeah.
Because I know for me it's like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Just get your mind like out of your head and onto paper.
Why'd you come to Portland? Yeah.
First bus out of the place I was in.
Gotcha. I don't know if you've been homeless or if you've always had a place to stay, but
I've been homeless 9 years.
9 years, yeah. I really hope you don't just like toss that to the side. I mean, even if you don't publish it, like even if you just share it with somebody who you think's like needs to hear it, you know?
If you want to try and write, we can.
You want to?
Sure.
Because you might smoke me pretty bad. I'm a little rusty on the poetry. All right, cool. You give me a prompt. How about we do that? The education component, is that the focal point here?
It is one of 3, basically.
Okay.
Really focused on education, employment, and housing.
So someone like William who got his GED here, is housing an opportunity for him?
Absolutely.
To get off the streets?
Absolutely. This is drop-in. So this is kind of the top of the funnel. This is where the vast majority of the youth come to us for the first time. There's a kitchen, grab some food, hang out. Somewhere between 40 and 50% of the youth that come into our building are self-identify as LGBTQ.
Gotcha.
So it's a big population.
In Portland, I met with one person, and that one person had the value of 100 to me. Impact isn't always about big numbers, you know, and I think we get lost in numbers sometimes. And I get the significance, you know, like, how many books did you sell? You know, so all this money, blah, blah, blah. How much did a movie make in the box office? I mean, I get it. It's a way in which we measure success so that we can continue to invest in things that people want. Well, I don't measure this journey in the same way. And the one person that I sat with, actually, I don't know if I mentored him or he mentored me, but I tell you, I think about him mostly because I just keep thinking about him 9 years homeless, and here he was. He opened his heart up to me and opened a space for me, and we created something together. And in my bag is something he wrote, you know? When I get home, you know what I'm gonna do? I am gonna frame that because he made an impact on me.
I was in a library, it was full of kids, and there was this one boy who was asking all these wonderful, great questions. And when the library cleared out and he went away, the librarian told me that young man there has been homeless for a year. He was sleeping in laundromats, on friends' couches, in cars, wherever he could find a place to stay. But he was in school every single day, and he wanted college but had no way to do it. I established a 501c3 nonprofit Ventana Sierra to help at-risk youth into safe housing and working toward career goals through higher education, life skills, the arts. But we have now one house open for young ladies, and we have all our young ladies enrolled in college. They would not have otherwise been able to go to college in the fall. So we have 4 girls going to college. I think it's really hugely important that we give those kids hope.
This place is unusual, and we think outside of the box, and we need to be with people that are thinking outside of the box, because we're dealing in a world that have said that these girls are useless, that these girls are not going anywhere, that these girls have made their bed and they should lie in it. And we're saying, no, these are just young women that happen to have children. Everybody has something to say, and everybody needs an outlet to pour it out. And it's empowering when you are able to say what you feel, what you mean. That's the biggest challenge that we have with our students. They just don't believe how smart they are.
My mom, she had me when she was 16. She was Hispanic. She lived in South Texas and Corpus Christi. She couldn't keep me. It was just how it was. And I'm not some fantastic motivational speaker who's going to tell you to find some religion or tell you to find some belief. I'm just telling you to find yourself, because that's where the power is inside your heart and inside your words and your images. Give me a word. What do you got? Where's the thingies? Do we have these? Hook me up.
Species.
Oh, I can't spell. S-P-E-C. Hook me up with a word. Go, Miss Maroon. What do you got? Give me a word.
Give her a good word.
Hook me.
No type of word.
Okay, so I don't got no type of word. All right, what else?
She didn't destroy my body, but she killed my soul.
All right.
Did you just come up with that, Paris? Yeah.
Species. To her was nothing. Ain't that sweet? So I don't got no type of word. Valuable. He say cool. Astonishing. I don't know. She covered her eyes. Giggle. Jealousy, of course. She didn't destroy my body, but she killed my soul. Sweet. All right. That's a group effort, right? All right. What do you notice about the words on the board? What does it feel like? Does it got music? Does it got rhythm? Does it got voice? It's got voice. You have a voice right up there. You tore that up. These words, it's your voice, right? What you got to say when someone's up in your face, when things aren't going well, when you want to quit, when your day is terrible. When you do this, it's freedom. You're free on that page. That page is empty. It's blank. It can be anything you want it to be. If someone only knew. That's where you start. Where you finish is yours. Tell your story with your voice.
If someone only knew that I had low self-esteem, that I get depressed most of the time, that I like to eat a lot, that I get my feelings hurt, that I want to tear somebody's ass up, that I can't stand my baby daddy, that my mom treats me like shit most of the time, that I live in a shelter, that I feel like I ain't smart in school.
Now I know. Thank you for sharing. I'm here because I believe that each of you can be your very best, whatever that is for you. Because I came from a place that wasn't your place, but was my place, and it was very hard. And I'm here today to say, look, I took my words and I made them my power. And I want you to make them your power when you can, when it works for you. And if it's not the words, make it an image. If it's not an image, make it a drawing, make it a painting. But use that so that you feel strong in the times that you want to quit.
People say, oh, they're afraid of failing. No, they're afraid of succeeding, because if they succeed, then you're going to expect more. I really do think that they need to know that other people have struggled and that they have made it. I, too, at one point in my life was a teen mom. And I found other caring adults in my life that helped me out. Because when people say, I could do this by myself, but I don't need anybody, is a frickin' lie. Everybody needs somebody. And I'm here to pay it forward. That's why I do this work.
first leg of this is over, and that feels really good. I feel like we made an impact so far. I've learned a lot on this trip. I'm really beat, but we're making a difference out here.
First of all, we have the people who don't believe that bullying is all that important. My favorite, I had a guy only a few weeks ago say, bullying's always been around. And I said, so has rape and murder. So is that good? Is that okay then?
Oftentimes it's said that they're just being kids, or it's not that serious, or we should lighten up, or they're just having fun, or otherwise teasing. Teasing is, I think, a mask for oftentimes what is mean and mean-spirited.
And I don't think kids realize the impact that their words can have. And even with all the focus on bullying that's been going on, because you can't turn around without seeing schools doing programs on it, I think some kids just don't think what they do is bullying.
And you can talk so much about bullying that the word becomes part of like the wallpaper, right? And then it gets ironic. Then kids can start to joke about, oh, don't be a bully, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But part of that, I think, happens because we try to approach this stuff like through slogans and through t-shirts and through programs and kumbaya, please be good to each other, all that stuff.
I go into schools and they have these big signs, it's bully-free, it's a bully-free school. Bullshit! No school is a bully-free school. There isn't such a thing. And yeah, that's always been around. I understand that. That said, what can you do about it? You can do something.
When I was 14 and in this situation, I had some hours of my day that were disconnected from my tormentors. But now it's continual, and it's through all of these devices. So it's very easy to feel that it's impossible to rise above it.
I worked with a woman who said to me, oh, well, my daughter's a mean girl. And I thought, oh, how terrible. She didn't think that was terrible. She was texting with the young people all day in their drama and their gossip. And she was buoying her daughter to be a mean girl. She saw that as relevant and valuable. She was a winner.
You have to really talk about what we say to each other, how we savage each other, what it's like to be on the receiving end of something so public.
We say, the person who's being mean to me is right, and I just need to be good enough. I just need to be capable enough like they are, and we interpret that. We value meanness. We really cannot keep telling each other that we're worthless. We must stop.
Today I was on the phone, I was talking to Sally Derby, the author, and she told me about a young girl who committed suicide in Florida. She's 12 years old. Basically, she was bullied for about a year, and she changed schools, she got off the Facebook, she changed her account, and these girls kept bullying her, and so she climbed on top of a building and she jumped off. And it's, I felt so incredibly sad and frustrated and angry. It's so hard for me to hear about another kid doing this, and no more body bags. And if I can't stop kids committing suicide, but if I can be a pause, if something I can do and get other people on board to do can be a pause where they might just think for a second. Because they don't want to wait for it to get better. They want it to be better now. And so do I. There's always been bullies. Being bullied is not a new thing. It's getting a lot of hype in the media, like the bullying epidemic, you know? It's like, I keep waiting for it to be like the whooping cough or something, the way they talk about it. Like there's a special pill you take, you know, and you stop being bullied. I think asking you and other kids what their opinions are about it, because you become the snitch and things don't get better. You go to your mom, she goes to the principal maybe or maybe not does something, they bring the kids in, then the kids get even meaner. You know, it's like there's no easy answer. That's the problem. And I don't know if inspirational speakers who stand up and tell you the pamphlet of what a bully looks like, and so you know what it is, and it tells you to go to your counselors, I don't know if that's the answer either. What could they say to you or your peers that would be different from what they've said already?
These people don't know you. Who cares what they think about you? Like, again, I'm blind. People in my grade school made fun of me for being blind. Who cares? They're just ignorant idiots. Whatever, I'm blindy. That's cute.
The focus really needs to come off of the people who are being bullied, and like the focus is always telling people how to avoid getting bullied, what to do once you get bullied. The focus needs to be on who's doing it and why it's happening, and the focus needs to be on don't bully.
I guess target more of the kids who do bully other kids and like
there you go.
Educate them on what they're doing and what that can do to the kids.
Right.
Because they might not, I mean, yeah, they understand the short term, like, oh yeah, I'm going to make him feel bad for today, but they don't understand how that actually affects what they're, or the person that they're doing it to.
I basically skipped out on my humanities class to hang out with you. Your coming to creative writing was the first time that I actually got to hang out with an artist. Because I identify as a more genderless human, I don't really identify as gay anymore. And maybe more androgynous is the best way to put it, but people don't really know what that is, so it's so much easier, even though it's out of my comfort level, to say like I'm gay. That's it. There's some people here who don't agree with my lifestyle, so that's concerning because people would talk to me about it openly. They're like, oh, well, I wouldn't do anything to you because you're a lesbian, but if I had a gay son, I would beat it out of them. If I had a son who was mentally retarded, I would beat it out of them. And they talked about it so casually, like that is the right thing to do. And it was crazy to me because I was like, this is what I live in. This is the environment that I am living in. And even though it's not like directly involved with me, like those are people that I could know or people that I will know, and it's still there. There's a lot of people who don't have accepting parents or anyone in their lives. And I feel like I am less at risk than most because I do have supportive people in my life. And I wish that everyone had that, but they don't. I don't know where I would be without my mom or my best friend, because if I didn't have them, I don't even know if I would be here at all.
You know, this is the only creative writing class in the area, except now Inspire has a creative writing class. But we were the last remaining literary magazine, the last remaining creative the last remaining creative writing class. And this is where things happen. This is where kids come out. This is where they make connections with each other. Kids who feel like they have no friends make friends. It's really important to me.
It's early, and I'm getting ready to go to Fairview High School in Chico, California. I was at a gathering the other night, and I was really excited. It was like, I got this impact work I'm going to do over at Fairview, and there were some other educators, principals, and teachers who were like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, ooh, it was very taboo. And then, you know, that I guess it's the place where they kind of figure the rejects go, the kids that you don't want to get around or educate. And so I feel like that's right up my alley. And, you know, maybe they'll, you know, chew me up and spit me out. I'm going to take my chances, shanked or not, you know, and, you know, this is where we are. You have no idea how ridiculous this is. Not only am I holding this wiener, I got to move this thing.
Sometimes a microphone is just a microphone.
Sometimes a microphone is, but you know, with my filmmaker friends, it never is. They're like, oh, you got the, never mind. People discount you a lot of the time. They think you are like what's counted out. This is the absolute truth. Writing is freedom. I don't know all your stories, right? And I'm not living your story. And if you think I'm coming from privilege, in some ways I am because I got out of my life. That makes me privileged. But I wasn't always privileged. I was a kid who was suicidal. I have been someone who's had significant loss. And the thing is, when you go to the page, you get to say anything. And no one gets to take it away. Like the mean girls, the jerks, the assholes. Nobody gets to take that from you. It's yours. If someone only knew. You don't have to make this hard. You don't have to think about it. It doesn't have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be like a best-selling novel. It can be a drawing. Just write something that matters to you. Because your voice is what's going to stand out when people count you out. And I have been counted out more times than I've been counted in. And people will count you out, but not today.
If someone only knew who I really am, they would probably not see me the way they do. Most people just try to judge me by what they see, but only if you really sit down and take the time to really listen to what I gotta say. I'm a person who likes to help out a lot and will never leave someone who's in need of help.
If someone only knew that I'm afraid of being hurt, afraid of falling apart, not reaching my dream goal, afraid of losing my child, if only they knew, then maybe I wouldn't be here asking myself every day the same question. What is the next thing to do in my life to be here? If someone only knew that I'm afraid and scared, and only then I'll be the only me. Someone with courage and someone who will be willing to let go of the past and look forward to the future.
If someone only knew how I really identify. Being a gay trans man in a place that doesn't understand who you are or why. Being bounced from home to home, not fitting in the gay scene. Wrong body, right mind. But once someone in this world knows, my world gets a little brighter.
I'm Deborah. I'm a high school student and a mom.
What's it like being a mom?
Crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah, fun, crazy.
My name is Brittany Young. I go to Fairview because it feels like home to me.
What was it like for you today? Tell the truth, no BS.
It was empowering. I actually felt like I could actually do something today and not have to hide everything that has gone on in my life, you know? If only someone knew.
Most of them don't have a lot of positive adult role models in their lives. They see us, and that's it. But to see other perspectives and to get a fresh take on things and just have someone shake it up and open their minds up and open their eyes up, it's so important. And they need that more in their lives. They need to be exposed to this more often.
They're real and they're honest and they're building community and they're a family. These are the kids they count out, you know, the kids with the tattoos, the kids with the gang signs, the kids who are pregnant, the kids who are just the kids. They're just kids. They're kids. And they deserve a shot just as much as I do, just as much as everyone else does. I mean, there's some kids who were in the first period who came back to be in the second period just so they could hear it and be a part of it again. This kid said to me, she goes, today was different because I felt empowered. And I'm like, yes! That's what this is about, you know? This morning, I'm headed to Fairview High School. I'm going back. I was approached by a student when I was there. She said that she had a story she wanted to share and that there might be other students who wanted to share. Who's been bullied in the room? All of you? Who's been cyberbullied? What could someone possibly do or say to help someone who's being cyberbullied?
Stand up to the person. Don't be afraid to tell them off. Don't be afraid to say, hey, stop that. You have no reason to be doing this. If someone is bullying someone, then obviously they have a problem in their life because they're trying to suffice that problem with a distraction, which is bullying other kids.
Cyberbullies, you should reach out to them whenever they're calling you like a piece of crap, whether you're fat or that you should just go hang yourself. Just be like, all right, well, what's going on in your life that's bothering you, that's making you want to say these things to me?
Who's been suicidal in the room? Has anyone tried suicide in here?
I have. I got this close. The only reason why I tried is because my mom kicked me out. I had no one there for me, so I just thought that there was no point in being here. I always tell everybody that. Imagine if you're in my place, in my shoes, with no parents loving you,
no one caring about you, with a boyfriend who say he loves you, but you feel like he don't even care about you. And I have a child to take care of too. It's just like so long. At times I would just want to go, but then I always think that I have a baby to take care of. Without me, he'll be nothing.
I finally came out to my mom, and she beat me almost to the point where I was dead. And then came out of the hospital. My mom told me to kill myself. I went and took a shower after I got out of the hospital, and he put a whole bunch of things of like, he had this big old thing of like pills and knives and stuff like that, and he put it underneath my bed because that's where my clothes were. And so like he knew that like I was already to the point where I literally wanted to die.
But you didn't do it.
I tried to. I ended up in the hospital 2 weeks later. I got out of the hospital and ran away. And this is before I turned 14. I was gone for 3 months. No one put missing persons out. No one did anything. And my mom told all my cousins and my family that if they found me and beat the shit out of me, that she'd give them a reward. I've always been called a slut and a whore my whole entire life. I was just like, you know what, if they want to call me that, maybe, you know, I should experience it just so I know. It was just something stupid going on in my mind. I finally was like, you know what, this isn't really what I wanted, and I got pregnant.
Honestly, the only reason I'm still here is because my suicide from a couple months ago failed, and I ended up in a behavioral health facility, and I don't want to go back there, so that's the only reason I'm still here. In case of another failed attempt at suicide, I decided not to do it again because I would actually want it to follow through and not just not happen.
It was because the rope snapped. The very next day, my sister, Victoria over there, she invited me to Remedy Life Church, and there I found that, like, you know, instead of killing myself, that I can stand as an example that shit happens, but you can go through it and you can encourage others to live their lives instead of ending it.
Not many people know how it feels to be a teen mom, especially, but if they have family that's helping them, they should be thankful. I'm 16 only, and it's really hard to find a job, and I have a child too. Now, that's so difficult for me because I know that there's no one gonna be there for me but me.
Normally, if you would go to someone just randomly on the street and be like, what's a Fairview kid to you? They'd be like, oh, that's the bad school. But then, like, you came and you didn't judge us and you were just, like, talking to us, and it was, like, amazing that you didn't see us like that.
It's hard for our voice to be heard because not a lot of people care about what teenagers have to say because they think it's just a joke.
I was at a school, it was a middle school. Principal comes up to me and says, hey, look, you know, we have a couple kids in here who aren't going to make it. He goes, you see that kid over there, that kid right there? We're going to have to kick him out, but we figured we could give him a chance before we did that for your talk. So I started talking, and this kid was like hitting the other kid next to him in the back of the head, totally goofing off, wasn't into it, but I love trying to get that kid. That's my favorite thing in a school event. So it became my mission to get this kid to listen and invest. So I started talking, told him about growing up in a tougher neighborhood, poorer neighborhood, growing up with nobody in my family having education. Slowly but surely, I saw him start to pay attention. And at the end, he came up to me and he talked to me and he said, I was born in prison. I just wanted you to know that I don't read books, but I write about San Antonio gangs. He goes, would you ever read one of my stories? And I said, sure. He ran, sprinted to his locker, came back with this packet of pages, probably 50 pages, gave it to me. This is amazing, raw writing from this kid who apparently had flunked 2 grades.
1 out of 4 kids has been abused in some way. That's a heck of a statistic because it's probably underreported. And then that's just abuse. And then you got all these other things too. You know, you got all these other issues. So you're looking at basically 3.5 out of 4 kids having something going on. Sometimes I look into the audience and I say, you know, look, I look at you and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I say, look around you. Know that this is true. Don't judge people, you know, based on what you see, you know, and understand they have stuff going on. But then I talk about your personal baggage and I say things like, you know, look, you have to pack your personal suitcase and you have to look in there and see what's in there because regardless of who you think packed it and whose fault it is that it's all messed up, it's yours. And you have to do something with it because it's never going to go away. You can't pretend that can I say shit? That shit didn't happen to you. I don't mean to freak them out, but I often say, look, you guys are 17 years old. You realize that in 10 years, a good portion of you will be married and be parents. How good of a spouse, or partner are you going to be if you don't check this suitcase?
One of the things that I try to say consistently to teens over and over and over again is that one of the suckiest lessons that we all get punched in the teeth with is that you have very little control sometimes over the awful things that happen to you. Awful things happen to amazing people. But as you transition from childhood into adulthood, you have to accept the responsibility that you have almost full control over how you react to the bad things that happen to you.
These are people that have been tossed, right? They've been tossed. And when they're this young, well, why do we care? They're just going to go to jail anyway, right? They're going to go from juvie to jail, right? That's what we think. I wouldn't bullshit them. I wouldn't say, hey, everybody else has tossed you out. They know everyone else has tossed them out. So you walk in there and you say, look, everyone else has tossed you out, but not me. I'm stubborn. Here I am. To have one person come into their life is huge. It's a huge deal.
I am heading to Red Bluff, and I'm going to Juvie Hall. This will be the first time I go to a juvenile hall system. They've done things or been involved in things that have put them in a bad place, and today, that stuff doesn't matter to me. Today, what matters to me is that we are able to access their voice, their truth, so that they can have an opportunity to maybe begin to think about a life that isn't about the life they've been living. And I can't fix their lives, and I've been saying this over and over and over. But I can show up, and I can say, hey, what's going to make today different than yesterday? Who has ever been in here who's been in trouble with the law more than once? Twice. 3 times. 4 times. 5 times. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Are you serious? 12 times? Wait, how many times are you?
8.
8. How old are you?
16.
What does it mean to be here?
It means a fresh start when you get out.
How many times have you been in here?
10 times.
Uh-huh. Is this lucky number 10?
Yeah.
How old are you?
17.
17. What do you learn in this room?
Schools, education.
Schools and education. You have elastic memory. Don't think I forgot that.
How to use a short pencil.
How to use a short pencil? Okay. Huh. Do they get to use something to write with today? That would be fantastic later. Okay, I'm just checking. Just want to make sure I know the parameters. Because see, I get the rules. I literally found out about this. I come in, I get a lot of rules really fast. I'm I don't know what to do. This is a lot of rules, and I think you know them really well. Yes.
They have to count everything.
They have to count everything.
And if you lose it, they have to search everybody.
Okay, that doesn't seem like a good time.
No.
All right. Okay, well, we're going to do everything right today because I don't want them to search everything on me. So they might. You don't know that. It could happen. You don't know that. You don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, okay? If someone only knew. You get to say anything you want. When you're not in here, when you're out there, you get to do stuff like this.
Never take the time to do this. Do something else.
There's different things that people gotta do to survive in their own life.
The stresses of the real life. In here, it's just like a buffer. The real life goes on out there, but in here, it's like frozen. Why think about it if you can't be part of it?
If somebody comes in here and they're like, oh, you can do it, you can make it out, writing's freedom, it's power, blah, blah, blah.
Your words will probably stick with us for 2 days, and then we won't think about it again.
Okay, why?
That's just, I don't know. It's just
there's other things on your mind than just.
Because it needs to click. There's something that
We have
in
to
there
choose
that's
to listen.
You can't change someone that doesn't want to change.
Do you want to change at all? See, but you don't. See, it's a catch, right? Because if you tell me you don't, then that looks bad and you don't get out. But if you tell me you do, then you're just feeding me an answer. It's a trick. Right.
I don't want to change.
No?
I want to get off probation, so I'm going to stop getting locked up.
Hmm.
You have to change to get off probation.
It's actually hella hard to do good. If you are, like, as soon as you get locked up, you're on probation, you're set for failure pretty much right there.
Anything you do, you get in trouble for once you get on probation.
They just think that just because you come in here, you're gonna be different. That doesn't change anything. You come in here and then you get worse because you're like, fuck the system. Like, they're gonna be sitting here telling me that I'm bad the whole time. Like,
Are you bad?
no, I am who I am. I'm not a bad person. It's not like I'm out there killing people.
I did not go to jail, but I did go to hell and back in my own way. And you're right. I can't say anything to you that's going to make it better, right? You're going to choose whatever you choose. And that's cool. I can't change that. But I'm here today, broke, traveling across America, because I do believe that people count you out, that they do sometimes set you up to fail. I'm not saying these people. I'm saying some people. And what I'm saying to you today, and even though if you forget my words in 2 days, 2 minutes, whatever, what I'm going to say to you today is that every time you pick up a pencil and you put something on a paper, you have got more power than the person who chooses not to. And I got 3 books to prove it. You have power and you have voice, and nobody takes that from you in here or out there. That was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. How do you give hope to kids who've been in Juvenile 12 times? And they think the system's just there to set them up. What's happening is I am going to the hospital. I'm in Philadelphia, and I went to an urgent care, and they think maybe I might have had a stroke. I'm hoping it's just a relapse of my Bell's palsy. And I'm nervous and I'm really scared, but yeah, we'll see what happens, you know. So yeah, I'm off to the hospital. Maybe I'll still make it to the rest of this tour, and because I don't want to give up right now. I just don't. Looks like yours truly is going to the stroke unit. I'm really bummed out. It's midnight. I've been here since 2 or 3, and the ambulance just came. It is almost 3 a.m. I'm in the stroke unit. So I guess this is really happening. So, excellent news. No stroke. And no TI either. TIA. Dia. So, I am good to go. I am happy, so happy. I'm gonna do a dance, I'm so happy. When I started this, I didn't know what was going to happen, you know? I mean, I had an idea, I had a dream of something happening, of something great happening. And kids say, you give me hope. I just don't doubt my value anymore in life. I feel like I'm here to do something, and I'm doing it. I'm ready to go to Texas. I'm ready to go home. That's where I came from, that's where I grew up, and I'm ready to be there.
I had a very difficult upbringing. My father was actually psychopathic, and I had started writing as a means of connecting with the world. I had a pretty happy childhood, and then my family imploded when I was in middle school because my dad had PTSD, and it got the better of him in those years. My teenage years were really sad and depressing and painful. You grow up in a situation like that,
you just don't have normal things to talk about. So I didn't have any way to connect when I was a kid, and I started writing in order to make that.
I've never lost the sense of how bewildering it was to be a mess and not have anybody I could trust, and to feel so alone. You know, that feeling of isolation, like you're the only person who's been through some of this dark stuff.
This is where I grew up. House looked a little different then. These trees I'd sit under and I would make up stories and places far from here. Places I was gonna go, things I was gonna see. So that when it got really loud in my house, I would just come out in the backyard, and out here it was safe. I could imagine anything. And then I'd go out to the pier over there, and I would stand out there and wait for the world to meet me. You know, I thought I wouldn't make it out, you know, or that I'd get out, but that I wouldn't make it. I'd made mistakes, things I wish I hadn't done in this world, but you know, it's about what you do when you step forward and decide to be the very best version of yourself you can be, you know? And that's it, that's what this is. So I'm going 20 miles from my hometown, and I'm workshopping with an at-risk school program, which is why this whole tour began, was someone I met in this particular school. All right, everybody stand up. Stand up. All right, what have we learned? Yes.
You can make a story with any words.
Yes, you can make a story with any words. Why do you think I say writing is freedom? Yes.
Because you can write about anything you want.
Good, yes.
I was going to see what she said.
I love that. I'm going to use that next time. I was going to say what she was saying. I'm going to do that. I like that. Yes, anyone?
Because you're able to express yourself in ways that words can't.
Exactly. Writing means you can do anything, and no matter what you look like on the outside, but when you get on the page, you're anything. You can say things that change people, that empower people, that excite people, make people mad, make people feel like they're seen. Writing is freedom. What is it?
Writing is freedom.
Writing is freedom. Rock on. I got a note I'm going to share with you. When I tried to commit suicide, self-harmed, and a broken family, and thought there was no way out, no reason to live, I read your books. You have changed my life forever, and I thank you for that. You made me believe in myself when I thought no one could. Like you said, writing is freedom. You helped me get through it. You are my hero. This whole thing was because of a kid I met at that school. And now I get this from someone else who comes up to me afterwards and hands it to me. And that's what this is about, you know?
Sometimes when I go talk to my other author friends, they don't understand the magic that can happen with kids who sometimes have given up on themselves. Sometimes you'll go in and you'll talk about being maybe not the greatest student yourself when you were young, and you'll see a kid and their mind will go, wow, maybe I could be an author, and I've never thought of that in my entire life.
I think the fact that there is a creative mentor period sends a message that I am creative, that I have something that I can create. If somebody's actually coming to me to try pull it out of me, it must mean I've got it. And then for somebody to care enough to spend time to help them with that, I think that's hugely important.
I think young people need to hear that it's okay to be who they are, and that they shouldn't judge themselves by a set of standards that they think the popular kids have, or the successful kids have, or the cool kids have. I think they need to learn to value what's inside of them and what makes them special. And a lot of things that make you nerdy in school make you a really, really cool adult.
When I went to the Juvenile Detention Center, I really wondered if what I did would have impact. It was a really tough room and a lot of really hopeless kinds of stories. But I got a message from Melissa Mondanka, who was the person who made it possible for me to be there. There was a kid in the back, and he had a really distinct presence. And he said to me, "Your words will stick with us for maybe 2 days." And this text message proves that weeks and weeks and weeks passed, and those words stuck. Here's what the text message says. "Fun story. We have a new young man in the hall, and as I approached the table he was at, to introduce myself, I noticed that he was reading your book. I used that book as a conversation starter and asked him how he liked it. He smiled and said he was enjoying it. I said, it's too bad you just missed meeting the author. Another boy, now this other boy is connected with the young man who said 2 days and you're out. That young boy told him that you were really cool and then let the boy know that I was the one who brought you to the hall. I've since had really great interactions with both boys. To think we got off on the right foot because of your book." Getting that message, it shows me that the way I measure impact is this message. This message right here says impact. It says showing up has currency and it matters.
I failed almost every single class except for my music classes. I got multiple chances to catch things up, and then finally they were like, "We don't know what to do with you. You can go over to Fairview," which kind of scared me. I had a lot of my friends and people be like, "Oh, you're gonna get stabbed if you go over there, like be careful, you might want to carry a knife with you." I think it was kind of already breaking into me a little bit that like this wasn't the place that I thought it was coming here, but then I sat there and spent, I don't know, a good hour or so holding your camera, so I got to hear all these stories of kids who were just like, have been through some really, really terrible things that I didn't even know that stuff existed. Like, wow, kids actually like go through this stuff and they walk around me on a daily basis. That's crazy. I've been personally working on treating the kids better than I did maybe when I first showed up, and just being more accepting of everyone.
How many people had thought about suicide? Number of hands of kids who had attempted suicide. In this moment today, how likely is it that you would attempt suicide? Really? No one.
There's quite a few members of my family that are depressed or worse, and quite a few of them actually done it, and so I don't think I could do that because I wouldn't want to encourage any more for that.
My brother and sister, if I was gone, they'd have nobody to look up to, nobody to see, learn from the mistakes I've made. I don't want to leave my child behind, so what's the point of hurting myself when I have a child to take care of?
My life's improved a lot. I've been a lot happier and my spirits have been uplifted.
I've graduated high school and now I hold a full-time job.
Chaotic, but not the bad kind of chaotic. It's like good, like wholesome family time chaotic.
Right now, everything's better, but the only thing that's hard is settling down on my own. Like, it made a big difference, because everybody's actually seeing that, I'm trying. The only hard part is not having enough support.
I felt like someone had finally came along that would listen to my story and actually know what I've been through. And I felt like I could be honest about all the things that have happened to me.
It had a big impact. Everybody walked away different that day.
You know what we're going through. You know how hard it is to be a teenager in high school with people saying, "Oh, you'll never be able to graduate. You'll never be able to have your own family. You'll never be able to be the person you want to be." And then you gave us that hope to let other people see what our school is like, not the stereotypes.
Kids have any kind of reaction at all.
Okay, they would not quit talking about you? Is that what you mean?
No,
yeah.
I mean, I want the truth.
Would not.
Been like, I hate her.
Yeah, that was not it. We had this guest speaker and blah, 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 and she said this, and she was so funny, and she did this thing with all these words, and then she made a story, and I had 15 kids going like this at me about this author.
Do you think it benefits kids in your program to have creative people come in and be a part of it?
Absolutely, and you know why I think that these kids actually, I think part of what got them here, that they have a lot of creativity within them, and I'm not very creative, I have to admit, so you guys bring out the creativity within them, and that's something I'm not able to do, so. And that makes them feel good about themselves, because they see, oh, I have this other, I have this hidden talent, or I have this creative part of me. I can create.
All right, so I came to your class.
Yes.
What was it like for you?
I was like, all right, you look weird, which is good. I like that you can make a random story with random words.
What's it like to have somebody come into your school and talk to you about, like, being creative?
Interesting.
It was cool.
Okay, why was it cool?
Because you were just like so out there about it. You were just like, here's what you gotta do, and this is how you're gonna do it. This is the fun way to do it, and let me show you how. Cha, Mexican powers.
It was different.
How so?
A lot different, because like you never have like someone come in with like a camera and like someone who wrote a book. A lot of people know about. Like that never happens.
I've told some people my story at traditional schools, and they'll actually sit there and tell me that I don't belong there.
Because there's so many people that are so concerned about what other people are thinking, she probably would have been laughed at or bullied a lot. Like a lot more than she was bullied.
Don't let your mistakes control your life. Basically, work through it and do what you need to do after you get out.
And where did you get that idea, like that mantra? Where's that for you?
I thought of it when I was in juvie.
You were in juvie?
Yeah, I thought I don't need to be doing this stuff anymore. Just gets you in trouble.
It's really surreal for it all to be coming to an end and to be coming back to Cincinnati after all this time. I'm still in Carl and Sally's basement because I don't have an apartment right now. But that's okay. When I set out on this journey, I didn't really have a clue what was going to happen. I mean, I was hopeful. You know, and it's strange to be back here in Cincinnati now, but I have to tell you that coming back here with where I'm at, I realized a lot of things, and that is that showing up has currency, and that one person can make a difference. It may sound like a bumper sticker to some people, but it's not. These kids have changed my life, and I've changed theirs. This is the beginning of something great, and this greatness is going to continue, and I'm ready to go up and running. I'm going to keep writing, and I'm going to keep fighting for the kids who are on the outside. But really and truly, I'm going to do that in trying to maintain the momentum that I've started and encourage other artists to continue this with me. It's not ending. It's just beginning.
There's a flicker of light bouncing off the table into your eyes, and I can't help but wanna catch it. When you fold me in your arms and dump your soul into my back, all the noises in my head stop to listen to my heart stretching out, giving in. Would you look at this love of ours now? I do believe I'm settling in. Come on in, honey, the deep end is calling. Touch your toes now and spring back up. I'm gonna promise it all to your lovins. Come on, baby, I said never give up. When without a warning you walked right in, sat yourself inside me in order. Never has it been so easy to just lay still and let somebody see me. My heart is stretching out.